get things started? Yes. Please help us welcome to the stage Diamond Ambassador Krista Dearey.
Leads and loves people. There's a handful of words that come to my mind. First and foremost is grace.
Krista's made such a difference in my life by inspiring me to be better. For me, watching her not just talk the talk, but walk the walk.
She authentically reaches out and catches people at the very core of who they are.
She's just a humble leader. She's the quiet leader from the back.
Krista has a beautiful way of showing you how to cast vision and set goals.
We laugh together, we cry together, we run together, hard as a team, and it's all because of Krista's influence in our life.
Good morning to you. What an honor to be with you today. Whether it's your first time here or your 10th, you're here because you earned it. You're here because you're a leader. You've made a significant impact on the lives of those around you. I am so honored to be standing up here speaking to the best of the best about the most important part of our business, leading people well. On your phones, go ahead and answer this question for me. What is one word that comes to mind when you think of leadership? Integrity. I love that. Respect. Relationships. Do 10 more seconds. These are so great, you guys. And what I love about these is it shows that we as ambassadors understand and recognize that great leadership shows up in a variety of ways. Leadership, it's not just for your business. The impact of leadership spills into your home and into your community, into the mundane moments and even the unexpected moments. I know we all have stories of leaders who have acted in our lives in small ways, but left a lasting impression. And for me, one of those moments was 10 years ago. Our 6th child, Gino, was fighting for his life after suffering 2 spontaneous brain hemorrhages. I had just spoken to a neurosurgeon who told me that if my child lived, he would likely be brain dead, blind, and deaf. I found myself alone in the hospital room, thoughts and fears swirling. What would come next? How would we get through this? And if we did get through it, how would we take care of a child with special needs? And that's when a hospital employee walked in, and she asked if she could clean our room. And as I wiped my tears away, apologizing for my mess, this sweet woman approached me, and she looked me right in the eyes and offered me these words of encouragement. Don't cry, just pray. Nothing is impossible. And then she proceeded to clean the room, praying softly under her breath. And she left. I never saw her again. But out of every specialist, surgeon, doctor, and nurse that we met with, it was this woman that single-handedly made the largest impact in one of my darkest moments. Her time in our hospital room created a shift. It's almost as if she had infused in me the courage to believe in my heart that Judah would make it through. And believe it or not, this picture was taken that day. I had the courage and strength to stand and smile thanks to that precious stranger. Now you might be wondering, why is this a leadership moment? It's a leadership moment because she did not allow her title, her rank, or her position in that hospital to determine her impact. Instead, she simply focused on people. She had the courage to be a carrier of impact right in that moment. She knew her job was more than mopping floors and emptying trash. It was people. And because she owned her leadership that day, I am forever grateful and changed. We left that hospital 2 weeks later with our son. I never saw that woman again, but she made an unmistakable imprint on my heart and on my business. You see, my passion exceeds the selling of supplements. My passion is people and ensuring that lives are changed because of their time on our team. Maya Angelou was right when she said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. That is the impact that leadership has when the focus is on people. That is the impact that you can have on everyone around you. You just have to choose to own your leadership wherever you are. So today, I'm going to talk to you about what I feel are the most important characteristics of great leaders who focus on people, not just in Plexus, but in life. First up, humility. Last spring, my family and I visited Lake Itasca State Park in northern Minnesota, which happens to be the very beginning of the Mississippi River. To be honest, I wasn't sold on this trip. It was a long road trip, and I remember thinking we would never find the exact spot that we were looking for. But once we finally arrived, my eyes took it all in, and I was stunned by the impact of the humble beginnings of this mighty river as just a small trickle. And as it flows south for over 2,500 miles toward the Gulf of Mexico, it gets wider, deeper, and more powerful, not on its own, but by merging with other small trickles, streams, and rivers. It speaks to me because great leaders often have humble beginnings, just like Mississippi. They understand that to become bigger, better, and more influential, they need a team. Not just any team, but a team full of people who are unified in their vision for the future. I'm constantly reminded of my own humble, hidden beginnings. As was the case for many others in this room, this opportunity was unexpected. It took a while for me to own my leadership journey and to figure out what kind of leader I wanted to be. But I have found what feels most authentic to me is to intentionally chase down humility. I've tried ego and entitlement, and it didn't go so well for me. It was filled with exhaustion, always striving for more, but with discontentment. But instead, if what I do comes from the overflow of still waters, from going back to the beginning, allowing passion to stir again and gratefulness to bubble up from within, choosing to pursue humility, then there's a grace in what I do. There is joy and fulfillment. But beyond that, that's what I want to duplicate for my team. You see, whatever I desire for my team, I must model it myself. And what I desire for my team is that grace, not the feeling I got when I was constantly striving, but the trickle of the overflow of still waters that partners with others to see dreams come true. So as you build your teams, walk in humility. Remember, you can't do this alone. You need to work with others to make great things happen. I promise it'll serve you well. Next, let's talk about servanthood. In my experience, great teams are often led by generous, giving people, not just with the things you can touch, like money and gifts, but also with time, attention, and love. Put simply, they build people up by loving them well. This photo was taken just before my Jewel leaders and I served our team dinner on the last night of our mountain retreat. I had given them, each of them, these aprons that you see here in a book on leadership. And as we discussed the goal of that evening, our hearts were stirred with a passion to model leadership well, to serve, not to be served, to honor, to show gratitude, and to ensure our teams knew how much we valued them. On this final night of a weekend filled with celebration, we were there to be the greatest servants of our teams. We cheered as our teams entered the room. We opened doors, pulled out chairs, served the meal, and cleared their dishes from the tables, making sure that every small task was completed with love. It was one of my favorite memories. But let me tell you, you can't show up like this once in a while and hope it has a lasting impact. Great leaders are consistent. They're steady and reliable, no matter what comes. They're the thermostat of their team. And any good thermostat sets a consistent, reliable temperature. When you think about it, it's kind of like being a parent. This is my 7-year-old Malachi. We recently moved from Minnesota to North Carolina and experienced our very first snowstorm in the South. School was canceled, there were warnings of power outages, the shelves were empty at every grocery store, all for an expected dusting of snow. You could feel the panic, and it was quite dramatic. And as I put Malachi to bed that night, I could tell he was heavy-hearted. A few questions uncovered that he was scared. What if the storm was too big? What if the power went out at night? And as any mother would, I told him, everything will be fine. But no matter what I said, my words were not doing justice for his fears. So I took his hands, and I looked him directly in his eyes. These are right here. And I said, Malachi, look in my eyes. Is Mommy afraid? He said, no, Mommy's not afraid. And I said, if Mommy's not afraid, you don't need to be afraid. And finally he calmed down and was able to sleep. In that moment, I was the consistency he needed. I set the temperature. As any parent knows, our kids react to our reactions. The same can be said for leaders. When we set a consistent temperature, our teams will do the same. And finally, belief. It sounds simple, but the best leaders believe, not just in themselves, but in the vision they cast for their teams. They believe with all their heart that the end goal can be achieved no matter what obstacles may come. And they believe that every single person on their team has an important role to play in the team's success. I've experienced leadership like this on my own Plexus journey. I had just given birth to our 7th child. Remember Malachi and his sweet eyes. And to say that I was struggling with my mental health as a woman, mother, and wife would be a huge understatement. I was walking through one of the darkest times of my life when a friend, who was patient and persistent enough to wait 4 whole months, convinced me to join Plexus. My husband and I agreed I'd give it 2 months. But by the end of month 2, Chad looked at me and said, I have my wife back. That's when I knew I had to share this with others. I had no idea it wasn't just the supplements I needed, but this community and this opportunity as well. Everything has changed for our family. I'm 100% confident when I say that I believe if I can do this, you can too. So right now, on your phones, tell me, which of these 4 characteristics of people-centered leadership resonated with you the most? Awesome, keep them coming. Servanthood's in the lead. So good, you guys. I love how all of you identify with something different. And that's okay, there's no wrong answer. Remember where we started today though? You learned that no matter what your title or your rank is, you play an important role in people's lives. So whether you're a silver or a gold, a ruby or a jewel, whether you're in the peak of momentum or you're walking through a valley, there's no better time than today to own your leadership. There are people counting on you to do just that. This is going to be a great weekend filled with truly valuable experiences and trainings. I challenge you to think about your people, your teams back home throughout every segment. What do you need to take away from this weekend to take your team to the next level? While you're here, take notes, take pictures. Don't forget to use the Leaders Retreat 22 hashtag. Build relationships with other leaders, all with your team in mind. I know our next speaker does just that. She's always thinking about how she can help elevate the people around her, and she's here today to talk to you about how you can do the same.
In my life,